So my number two, David, you said Invisible Man is the best horror of the year. That is a wrong statement because the best horror of the of the
Did I
year
did I say it's
is,
best horror?
yeah, you did, or your favorite or something. But anyway, I just want to make a joke. But so the best horror of the year is actually called Possessor, which is my number two. Possessor is written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who, yes, he is the son of David Cronenberg, and in fact, it is a very David Cronenberg film. It is a full-on body horror,
Ooh,
psychological thriller, amazing practical and non-practical effects. It is a very focused film, very to the point. And basically, the plot is it follows this woman played by Andrea Risborough. So if you see her, you recognize her. She's one of those actresses, you know. And Christopher Abbott. He's in two films on my list. Um, and he arguably plays an even better role than in Black Bear. Like, he's really good in this. He's amazing. And it's you're following this woman who's an agent who works for an organization that carries out assassinations. And it's sci-fi because the technology they use is basically I saw it a while ago, but they kind of kidnap the target, not the person they need to assassinate, but someone who's related to them or knows them who has access to this other person. They kidnap them, they implant the agent's consciousness into their head, and the agent lives as this person. They're like in a bed, kind of like in a coma, and they're living as the other person. They're in their head, and they're trying to set up. They're going to kill the other person, but they set it up in a way that once it's done and they leave the body, no one's the wiser. The police doesn't suspect that was an assassination at all because they try to make it look like as if there's a real reason behind the assassination. For example, they target someone who already has a problem with the target. Like, I don't know, they slept with their girlfriend when they're in the high school or something. And they try to make it seem as if the assassination is for that reason, so the police doesn't suspect anything, you know? So it's like a high-paying client kind of assassination organization, right? And the thing is, when she gets in his head, uh, things go wrong. I'm not going to say too much, but basically there's a conflict between the two personalities. And but there's one body, so that one body is trying to commit the crime, stop themselves from committing the crime, um, mistakenly giving out information during emotional moments that other characters have no idea what the hell they're talking about because it's another person speaking through them. So it's very, very psychological. A lot of great filmmaking, atmosphere, amazing music as well. It's so intense, effective, simple. I think it's the best thriller and horror film and horror thriller film of the year, definitely. And it's
nice.
highly recommended. And it feels like David Cronenberg has been resurrected into his son, almost possessed his son to make this film.
Did you prepare that one? Did you
No,
prepare?
actually, it just came to me right
Oh,
now.
nice one,
Yeah,
James.
and Jennifer Jason Leigh is in this film as well, who you'll know. She's a good actress.
I
Everybody better know Jennifer Jason Leigh at this point.
I'm about to look her up,
If you
so I guess I'll
don't
know
say
her.
it. Oh no, I want to save you from embarrassment. That's fine. No, I'm kidding. I mean, some people don't recognize the name. But yeah, I'm done. You guys can comment if you want.
So,
You had me at Cronenberg, so I'm definitely going to give that a go. I'm not a
Should.
fan of body horrors, so that would have automatically
No,
went
but
off
it's
my list.
not. He doesn't. It's not in the same way as
It's not
Cronenberg. That's
distasteful.
very. No, not really. I mean, there are some scenes that are really messed up, but I think everything else makes up for it. It's
Nice.
not
Now
too
I'll give it a go.
concentrated on the violence. It's more about the psychological aspect, definitely, than the violence. But it does have, for who wants violence, who wants those effects, it has them.
All right, cool.
cool. You watched this alone, James?
I did.
Were you scared?
I don't tend to be scared, but I was really captivated. Like, my
Okay.
eyes couldn't move from the screen.
I think I'll watch this movie. It sounds super interesting. I like body horror and all that stuff. Again,
Yeah,
I
I'm surprised not many people talking about it.
if
It's
I
like a
was
really
more
good film.
courageous, I would watch mostly horror movies, honestly. But you got me. You got me interested. I'm
I
gonna watch.
gotcha!
You
Ha!
got me. You possessed me. I will be watching this movie. Jer?
I think I'll watch this movie. I kind of like the idea. I've watched some films like The Thing with a bit of body horror in it. So so yeah, and the way you described it to me, having like two people in the same body trying to do certain tasks. It's like a tug of war. It's
Yeah.
that's
No, there's a lot of things I don't want to mention, but like if you try to think of how that concept could be taken, You can just imagine what's in the movie.
I can see where this is. I can see how this can turn out. It's definitely one that I should jump onto. I guess now it's my turn. Am I right?
Yes, Jer, you are absolutely 110% correct. So, number 2.
Number 2 is the trial of the Chicago 7.
Oh, here we go.
Well, similar reasons to John's. I like the film. The actors were fantastic throughout. I like the rapid fire dialogue between the characters. Particularly, I hated the judge. I never wanted to go and punch a man like I did that day. I just wanted to go and grab my shoe and just break the screen with it. You know, I loved the scene transitions between the old footage, the like 1960s footage, and now, especially during the riots and all those scenes and the protests. Those were fantastic. The way they just seamlessly blended right through. I have to admit, Sasha Baron Cohen, he did a fantastic job, and I only see him in those weird films as like how you guys described him as Borat or as the Dictator or any of those. So I've never got an opportunity to see him do a serious role. So it was quite a pleasant sight as well. But otherwise, the film it was just fantastic overall. I found nothing wrong with it. I throughout the film, there were a group of people I wanted to see completely cheered on, and I felt educated. So props to that.
Nice. Any comments, or guys, regarding the Trial Chicago 7? We talked about this before.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think you guys know
Yeah,
I liked
I
it.
don't really have much to add. I mean, I think it's just one of the better courtroom dramas we've in recent memory. Quite very very watchable. Very entertaining.
Very well. Yeah, it was pretty well made as well. Something that interested me about the Trial Chicago 7 is that it didn't spend too long giving us a history lesson about the riots and incidents before. It just jumped right into it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what's
it is
efficient.
almost all of it is like just set in that courtroom.
Yeah, it jumped right into it.
Yeah, they didn't baby us, they didn't spoon feed us
No, it's
facts and all this.
Oh, there was a thing called the Vietnam War.
Yes. It prompted me to do a bit of research beforehand because I think I might have.
Did you look up what is Vietnam?
Yes. No. At some
What
point,
is a Chicago on Google?
what is 7? I can only count to 5. No,
There's a 6 in between. Bollocks.
no, that's just like it prompted me to do a bit of research before I watched the movie.
I actually had to do a bit of research to write the review.
Oh, right, yeah, you wrote
Good
the
one,
review.
Joe.
Yeah, visit popcornperspective.com for that.
Exactly. The review of Trial of Chicago 7
Pointing.
can be found at www.popcornperspective.com. Okay, moving on. Number 2.
Next,
John.
who? John.
All right, so number 2 on my list, it's an animated film, WolfWalkers.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Yeah, this movie was it was really good. To start out with the animation style, the director, if you're familiar with him, is Tom Moore. He's an Irish filmmaker, and he carries this animation style with him throughout his films, at least the ones I know. And it's a bit refreshing seeing it's a bit refreshing seeing with a lot of the animations these days. Especially, you brought up Soul earlier, which is another animated film. It's quite different from Disney and Pixar's way. It's a bit refreshing, to see something that looks a little more, we'll say, drawn. It could be a painting. You're watching a painting move.
Tradition.
Yeah. So, but this one I was quite impressed with. Sean Bean's in it, which is quite cool.
Oh, he's a possessor as well, by the way.
Sean Bean, so he's made it on our list twice now. Or in our
You can already guess what happens to him because he's Sean Bean. But anyway, let's go on.
Yes. Okay.
Is this presence just a spoiler now?
Sorry?
It's okay. I was kidding. But anyway, it's a horror film. Okay. But anyway, keep talking, John.
Yeah, we're on John's time.
It's all right. I'll remember. James and Jeremy have interrupted me now. Dave, you're one of the good ones.
Okay.
Don't worry. I'll sabotage their last ones. I already got a plan. No, it was a good movie. It's really good. The story was quite simple. You know, I think it takes place in like the mid 1600s in Ireland. Um, and essentially, I'm not going to get into too much because it's something you really got to see yourself. But it's, you know, hunters are tasked to wipe out wolves. Wolves are looked at as enemies and actually quite opposing threat. So they have hired hunters to now execute them when they eventually start stumbling on people, we'll say, called WolfWalkers, which are humans whose soul, leaves their bodies at night and they become wolves. And they can communicate with wolves and whatnot. And yeah, I can't give too much about it, but yeah, it was good. I recommend it for anybody in general. And if you like animation, I recommend it even more to you guys.
I
who
do
prefer
like
it.
animation.
Yeah, I know barely anything about this. I think everything I know it comes from you. Actually, I probably saw it on some list somewhere. But
I've heard of WolfWalkers. Sorry to cut you off, James. I've heard of WolfWalkers. I think it's part of like a sort of trilogy, isn't it? It's like the third one, sort of.
I don't know if it's a trilogy. Then it's one of those. It's more of an anthology trilogy where they're not
Yes,
connected. But
it's an Irish folklore trilogy. I had unknowingly seen
Irish.
the second. Yeah, Irish.
Irish.
I had unknowingly seen the second one without knowing it was part of a trilogy. I had seen Song of the Sea, which is by
yes,
the same guy.
yeah, Tom Moore. Yep, that's him.
Have you seen Song of the Sea?
Yeah, that one. I didn't know about Tom Moore at the time. Actually, that was probably the first time. I think it might have been the first movie I saw from him. And WolfWalkers, I completely missed. Like when it was released, and a friend of mine told me that it was out, so I gave it a watch recently. Actually, within the last couple of weeks. It's good.
Pot of gold. Oh, my pot of gold. Oh yes.
Oh my God, James.
Okay, David, your turn.
I'll give WolfWalkers a watch and probably watch the first one in the trilogy as well. Um, sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, Jeremy, you have any word on that, by the way?
Yeah.
Actually, I like the idea. As when it kind of has a Game of Thrones-esque vibe to it.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say with Sean Bean's voice behind one of the characters, like if you walked in at the right moments, you'd think it's like the animated Game of Thrones, but not
When I
not
see you
quite.
again, I'll tell you about your mother.
Yeah.
Never
I'm
see him
not-
again.
I'll tell you about your mother.
9
Yeah.
episodes later, head chopped off.
Close,
I think
dude.
Game of
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Spoilers
I
regardless.
wasn't talking about Game of Thrones. Talking about that
controversial,
other. Anyway, go ahead.
unpopular opinion. In hindsight, Game of
You,
Thrones.
you like season 8, I know.
After season 8, I don't really care about spoiling it because
No.
it just ruined itself.
Unpopular opinion. In hindsight, Game of Thrones, assuming the books were finished, would have been better as an animated series. Anyway, moving on. You have more freedom that way.
You can't just say that and move on, bro. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
move on. We'll
Fight
talk
me.
about it next time.
So
Duke it out next time.
number 2 for me, we've mentioned this already before. It's Promising Young Woman. Yeah. You guys recommended it to me, and I picked it up. I hadn't really heard much about it, other than it related to female empowerment. There was a feminist message to it. I watched it, and yeah, there is. What I liked about this movie was, how do I describe it? I mean, it's about a woman who kind of seeks revenge against predatory men after her childhood best friend became the victim of one, became a victim of predation. I won't really get into much detail on that. I think what I liked about it was, well, for one, its dialogue. For one, I loved its dry delivery of the protagonist. I forgot the actress's name escapes me.
Carrie Mulligan,
Yes, I really liked her.
I think.
Yeah,
No.
I think
Carrie.
Mulligan's her
Yeah,
name.
Carrie, not
Yeah.
Carrie.
I really I don't know, something about her dry, sort of hollowed out persona I found her very watchable. You can tell that she's a very broken person who just gave up everything to focus purely on this sort of vigilante-esque quest, which is a bit questionable because it brings up issues with entrapment, but I'm sure many people have discussed that already. I like how it has quite a few surprises as well. There are a couple of twists you don't see coming, And I really like the chemistry between the characters. Again, I mentioned dialogue. I like how it just bounces off. There's this sort of, I don't know, disheveled look to everything, which just intrigued me and got me to enjoy this movie. And I was pretty much, hooked and interested from start to finish. There is a bit of suspension of disbelief, of course, that's required, but that's fine. So yeah, I think this is my number 2. Comments, guys?
Well, I have more to say about it in a minute, so I won't say
Okay.
too much.
I'm not going to give you a chance, James. This is where I'm going to interrupt you. Okay, so
Yeah.
get it out now.
Well, my
No, it's
finger
a
is
joke. It's a
hovering
joke. I
over
would-
your mute button, so
All
your
right.
ass would be muted. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that. But
Well, I said my piece. Yeah, I said my piece, and I think Jeremy, we haven't heard from you yet about it, so
Are you
You want
saving
to-
it for later?
you're saving it for your
I'll
number
tell you,
one?
I'm saving it for later. Okay, so
No, yeah,
Yeah, sure.
But Jera, I'm hoping.
yeah,
it's your
he's
number
saving
one.
it. Look at his face. Look, he's sitting on a
God.
whole bunch of text that he's been saving about Promising Young Woman. Look at him.
I see betrayal in his eyes.
Whatever
should we-
it's going to be, it's going to be a surprise, guys.
Okay.